Cool. Hey, everyone. A lot of great content out there today, so thanks for coming. Welcome to talk about keeping your young players safe with KWS Parent Verification Service. My name's Kevin Hodges. I'm from a small village called Headcorn, which is about an hour south of London in the UK. I work for Epic Games, or more specifically, the Kids Web Services team at Epic Games. And I've been a software engineer for about 20 years or so now. So I'm pretty old.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amy Zeidel, and I'm a product manager at Epic Games on the Kids Web Services team. I'm born and currently based out of Montreal, Canada, and I've spent the majority of my career working in media and technology, specifically focused on youth audiences and safety practices. Today, Kevin and I will be talking to you about parent verification, what it is, why it's important, and how developers can use KWS's parent verification service to help players and protect players in your own games and experiences. We'll also explore some of the tools that we've built at KWS to help developers ensure the safety of younger players while keeping things simple for parents and developers alike. But before we dive into the tools and a demo, let's start with the bigger vision. Why has Epic Games invested so much in making safety for young players a top priority? And really, it begins with a challenge that we all face as developers. The internet wasn't built with children in mind, and by extension, neither were gaming environments or the metaverse. Developers are focused on making great games and great experiences, but there's a whole extra layer of complexity when it comes to thinking about how to make these experiences safe and appropriate for kids and teens, complying with global regulations, privacy requirements, and the cost of building and maintaining safety systems. Epic knew that in order for the metaverse to be inclusive to kids and teens, safety and privacy had to be built in from the very onset. So Epic Games set a vision to tackle this. Create an ecosystem where younger players can participate meaningfully without compromising their safety or privacy. To do this, Epic acquired Kids Web Services, also known as KWS. KWS provides parent verification and consent management tools that make it easier for developers to deliver safe digital experiences for younger audiences. These services were embedded within Epic's ecosystem, starting within Epic's account system. But then Epic realized that these tools weren't just useful for us. They could be used by gaming developers across the industry everywhere, especially for smaller studios who are under the same pressure to navigate global regulations like COPPA in the US or GDPR in the EU. That's when Epic decided to open up KWS and make KWS's parent verification service available to all developers for free, so that cost would no longer be a blocker to kids and teens having a safe experience. But even with that, one big challenge remained. How do we make this safe not only for kids, but also easy and simple for parents? Why should a parent who has verified once through Epic need to repeat that process in every other game or environment that their child uses? That's frustrating for parents, leads to unnecessary data collection, and creates friction for devs, lowering completion rates in their own flows. That's what led to the creation of KWS's Age Graph, a system designed to make verification easier for players and developers alike. The Age Graph is KWS's growing network of nearly 30 million pre-verified adults. Instead of having parents to re-verify every time their child plays a new game, the Age Graph remembers a parent's verified status alongside their hashed email address. The Age Graph is designed with privacy at the forefront, storing as little personal information about the parent as possible. This means that the next time a parent is asked to verify as an adult, they won't need to re-verify again if the game or service is also powered by KWS. KWS will simply share the verification status with the developer requesting verification, and the parent will be considered verified for the developer's own VPC purposes. That means faster onboarding for parents and kids, and higher completion rates for devs. And as the age graph grows, the benefits compound. More parents are pre-verified across more games and services, and everyone gets smoother and safer experiences. So how does the age graph and KWS's parent verification service work together in practice? KWS's parent verification service allows developers to verify that an appointed parent or guardian is an adult for the purposes of obtaining verifiable parental consent in any market globally. Developers can choose where in their flow to integrate with the service, whether that's at the point of account creation, before setting parent permissions or controls, or before users can access specific features or content. When a developer calls KWS to perform parent verification, KWS will first check if the parent already exists in the age graph, and if the parent should be pre-verified for the developer based on their own configurations and settings for their organization. If the parent is pre-verified, they will be able to continue within the developer's flow. If the parent hasn't yet verified, the service allows parents to choose a verification method that best suits them, whether that's payment card verification, ID document verification, an anonymous facial age estimation check, or other local methods depending on the player's location. Once the parent has successfully completed verification, KWS will send a verification success response to the developer, and the child and parent can continue on in your flow. So that's what the service does and how it can fit into your flow. But the bigger question is, why is this important? Why has parental verification become such an essential part of online experiences across the industry? Let's talk about the why before we show it in action. Firstly, there's the regulatory reality. Laws like COPPA and GDPR mean that developers need verifiable parental consent in specific contexts. But just as important is the broader industry expectation. Parent verification isn't just seen as ticking a compliance checkbox. It's increasingly becoming the baseline standard for online safe play, something that parents are expecting developers to provide. Beyond compliance, it's about building trust with families, protecting younger players, and ensuring that everyone has a safe experience that is age appropriate. Now, to bring this to life, I'll hand this over to Kevin, who will walk you through how this looks in practice inside Epic's flow.
Thank you. No problem. Cool, thanks, Amy. So Amy's just spoken about the parent verification landscape, why parent verification is important, and how KWS can help keep young players safe. And what we'd like to do now is to show you through how Epic Games has implemented KWS's parent verification for Fortnite, and what that experience is like for both the child and the parent. Now, if a child wants to play Fortnite, like everyone else, they need to sign up for an Epic Games account. So what does the child's experience for signing up for that account look like? Now, I'm not going to show you the entire flow here. What I want to do is just to highlight the key stages of the process so I can give you a good feel for how parent verification works within that. Okay, quick question. Does anyone here play Fortnite? Yeah, cool, a few. So you'll probably be familiar with this screen. This is the screen that any player going into Fortnite will see. So let's say my daughter Charlotte wants to play Fortnite. And she's going to come here and she'll see this page or a page like this, depending on the season that's currently running. She's going to press to start. And she'll be taken to this page where she is asked to either log in or create a new account. And now if Charlotte already has an Epic account, she'd log in here, but she doesn't. So she'll click create an account at the bottom of the page, and that will start the account creation process. And I've skipped a couple of screens here, but Charlotte will end up on this page where she will be asked to enter her date of birth. And this happens for all new account creations, so not just for children, but for adults and children alike. Everyone is asked to enter their date of birth. So she enters her date of birth and she'll click continue. And now Charlotte is 10 years old, and she's lucky enough to be under the age of digital consent in the UK, not like us oldies. So two things are going to happen when she clicks continue here. Firstly, her account will get created with an unverified minor status, and that's going to restrict what the account can and cannot do. And this is what we call cabin mode. And then secondly, Charlotte will be taken to this screen, where she will be prompted to enter the email address of a parent or guardian. And just quickly, from now on, I'm going to use the term parent instead of parent or guardian, as it's less of a mouthful. But when I do say parent, I do mean both parent and guardian. So the email address is entered, and that should be of a parent who will be later asked to verify themselves as an adult. And in this case, for the demo, that's going to be me, Charlotte's dad. So Charlotte enters my email address here. She clicks continue, and this is going to trigger what we call a guardian challenge. And this will be an email that is sent to me, the parent. And then Charlotte can continue to set up her account. Amongst other things a cabin account does is it generates an auto-generated display name, such as Gothic Goat 6674, and that's going to hide her actual name when she's in the game. And finally, she'll reach the thank you screen, and she's now ready to go play Fortnite in a safe environment using her cabined account. And as you can see, we again here say some of the features will be unavailable, but importantly, Charlotte is not prevented from playing Fortnite. She can jump right in and get involved while she's waiting for me, the parent, to confirm the account behaviors I want to allow. So Charlotte's now playing Fortnite. She's happily playing Lego Brick Life. Other games are available. And at some stage later, or if your kids are anything like mine, 5 minutes later, they're going to come running in and they're going to nag you to start checking your emails. And I'm going to see something in my inbox like this. And this is the previously mentioned Guardian Challenge email. It explains that Charlotte has created an Epic account and that it's cabined and what that means. I can see the age she's declared herself as, and invites me to review the account permissions and to set up parent controls for her. So once I click continue, which is a bit just further off the page down the bottom, I'm redirected into the Epic account portal, where there's a number of screens that I need to take action on, things like accepting the terms of service, for example. But the bit I want to show you today that's relevant to parent verification specifically is a couple of pages into this flow where I'm presented with this page. This is the start of the KWS parent verification flow. Now it's only a few pages long, and I'll show you a bit more of what this looks like in a bit. But this is the bit where the parent verifies themselves as an adult. And this is the bit which is ensuring the account of the child playing Fortnite is being managed by a verified adult. Now, the observant amongst you will say, hang about, Kevin, that's not the same black theme as the Epic account portal screens you were just showing us. And yes, you'd be absolutely right. We've temporarily dropped out of the Epic account system into the KWS flow. Now, KWS parent verification is available to any developer. We operate parent verification for some of the largest account systems in the world. And the flow looks like this, whether it's Epic Games or anyone else. When parents are going through the verification process, they're interacting directly with KWS. And so you can see on the screen, I've got some verification methods that I can choose from to verify myself. We've got face scan there, payment card. So I choose a method with which to verify myself, and assuming I can do so successfully, I'm returned back to the Epic account portal where I can then wrap up the child account creation process. And that's it. My work as a parent is done. Charlotte's account is promoted from a cabin account into a full child account with appropriate settings chosen by me, the verified parent. And this is how Epic Games incorporates KWS parent verification into its child onboarding flow. So as we've just seen, Epic Games uses KWS parent verification in front of Fortnite and its other first-party titles to help keep kids safe when using those experiences. So now I'd like to move on to show you how you can use the very same parent verification flow as part of your games and services to help keep your young players safe. As we've just seen, so now I'd like to move on to show you how you can use the very same parent verification flow for your young audiences. And to help the demo make a bit more sense, I've spun up an entirely fictional games development company called Super Impressive Games just for today, which I'm the sole creative input, heaven forbid. I've got a cool new game I want to launch called Super Impressive Game, and I want to use KWS parent verification when kids are creating accounts through my account system. A quick shout out to my design team for creating this banner. The one I created was a lot less impressive. And so this is the Epic Developer Portal homepage. And this is the launch place to find out about all the tools and services Epic Games has to offer in our developer portal. And if you scroll down, you'll find the KWS panel there. And if you want to get some more information, if you want to see more about the services we offer, you can go through there and then click through and it'll take you through to the KWS homepage and you can get all the information you could want. So what you want to do is you want to sign up or log in using your Epic account if you already have one. And you'll land here on the Dev Portal dashboard. And this is my newly creative, super impressive games organization, as you can see. And if you use Epic tools such as Unreal Engine or Reality Scan or Twinmotion, this is probably going to be familiar to you. You can see in the nav on the left-hand side the various Epic tools that are available. And if you see there where the white hand is pointing to the KWS tools, that's the tool set we are going to be looking at today. So we click on the link, we navigate through to the KWS page, and you can see just in the middle here, there's two panels, and these are the services that we offer. We've got concept management on the right-hand side, and the one that we're talking about today on the left, which is parent verification. Now, both have very specific purposes, but they can also be used together to give developers and parents more finely grained control over what's happening inside your games. So we click the blue button there, the View and Edit button in the Parent Verification panel, and we're taken into the Parent Verification configuration page. And this is where we have everything you will need to get a verification integration up and running. And we can start editing this and setting it up straight away, straight off the bat. And you can see here we've got 4 tabs, each with some different configuration on, which I just want to show you through quickly. Firstly, verification methods. Now, probably the feature we get asked about most is what verification methods can we offer parents and what our global coverage is like. And the bottom line is we can make at least one verification method available to any parent anywhere in the world. And you can see some of our methods listed here. We can see social security number at the top, ID scan. One of the most popular methods is face scan, which is a bit further down. And we also offer more localized methods too. For example, some national database checks, such as IPIN in South Korea. And you've got full flexibility to configure the verification methods for each jurisdiction as you see fit to suit your use case. But the more you make available, the more choice the parent has and the higher the likelihood that they're going to complete your onboarding flow. This is the configuration tab. Once parents pass verification, as a developer, you're going to want to know that they've completed it successfully. So you can update the account on your side or do whatever it is you need to do. And we've got a couple of ways that we can notify you of that. Firstly, when the user completes the verification flow, we can redirect them back to a URL of your choice, which is what we saw with the Epic flow. And there we can put in a redirect URL, and we'll secure that with a secret, and we'll send the parent right back to you. And then you can do whatever you need to do to finish the account creation process your end. We also offer a webhook mechanism. Again, upon successful verification, we can fire a webhook to a HTTP endpoint of your choice, and which you can listen to for updates about user progress. So you can use either of those, you can use both of those, but this is how you can confirm that the email address is for a verified adult. This is the branding tab. You can see I've added some basic information here about my org, such as org name. I've uploaded my company banner, which I showed you earlier, and chosen my accent color. And these things help style the customizable elements of the verification UI. And you can see on the right-hand side a handy preview of what the UI is going to look like in the pages where we apply over-branding. And just lastly is the integration information page. We've got all the things a developer will need to start making calls to the KWS API, including the keys and secrets required to generate access tokens. And that is it. And if you wanted to, right now, you can jump on your laptop, sign into the Epic Developer Portal, and you can start playing around in our test environment straight away. And from this, you can get a good feel for how it's going to look to your users before you get it anywhere near production. So let's now take that super impressive games configuration we've just set up and see what that looks like as a parent going through the flow. Now, firstly, as a developer, you'll need to send the parent's email address that you've got from the child to the KWS API, and this is going to trigger this email to be sent to the parent. The invite to the parent to start verification. You can see it's got my super impressive games branding that we configured in the dev portal a little earlier. It's got a clear call to action asking the parent to verify themselves as an adult, and an explanation as to why they're being asked to do that. So we click on the link and we're taken straight into the parent verification flow we saw earlier when we were going through the Epic Games flow. Now, Charlotte wants to use Super Impressive Games. She wants to play the new Super Impressive game. And since my child is in the UK, as the parent, I get offered verification methods that are valid in the UK. So here you can see face scan, we got credit or debit card, and ID scan at the bottom there. If my daughter was in another country, say for example the US, I'd be seeing different methods here available, such as social security number. And as a parent, I need to choose one of those available methods with which to verify myself. And just one extra thing I wanted to mention here, if a parent has previously verified with us, for example, if you're one of the nearly 30 million parents, verified adults we have in our age graph, you won't see this page at all. You'll click on the email, you'll see a page that simply says you're already verified, and you'll be redirected straight back to Super Impressive Games. And that's what we call pre-verified, and that's the power of the age graph that Amy spoke about earlier, in reducing friction for parents. I wouldn't have to verify again. But alas, in this example, I've not previously verified. So I need to choose a method, and I've chosen face scan. You can see here, I can see some information about Yoti, who is our face scan provider. And there's a link there which takes me into Yoti's face scanning web app. And once that's happy, it's got my likeness and my picture. It'll send me back to the KWS verification flow, where after a short wait while we confirm the verification has been successful, my browser will get redirected into the Super Impressive Games account portal, and then Super Impressive Games can mark the child's account as being associated with a verified parent. And lastly, the parent will additionally receive this email confirming to them that verification with Kids Web Services was successful. And it's also worth pointing out that the parent can choose to opt out of our age graph, which means they'll no longer be considered pre-verified the next time they're asked to verify with us. And they do so by navigating to the opt-out link or by contacting our privacy inbox. So a quick recap. In the last 10 minutes, I've shown you 3 different user journeys. I've shown you how parent verification works for Epic Games. I've shown you how you can set up KWS parent verification and use it for your own account systems. And I've shown you what that experience would look like going through my fictional Super Impressive Games verification flow. So that's what parent verification looks like in practice. What I'd like to do now is to turn our attention a bit and talk a bit more generally about the KWS platform, because there's some super cool stuff in there that I'd like to share with you. So we get asked all sorts of questions about the KWS tech platform, and as a techie, I'm obviously more than happy to talk about this. Account signup is typically the place where you want to have as little friction as possible. That's the top of your funnel. And with an integration that is going to sit in your critical path, you'll quite rightly be concerned about response times, data handling, and conversion, to name just a few things. So what is KWS doing to make verification as quick and easy as possible? Firstly, just a quick bit about our tech choices. You can see our core tech stack here. We use TypeScript on the back end, Angular on the front end. We use Nest.js in our server-side app framework, Postgres for persistence, and Valkey for our caching layer. And lastly, our APIs are all JSON over REST. We built the KWS platform from the ground up as a core part of the Epic Games ecosystem, but it's not exclusive to the Epic Games ecosystem. It's available to use everywhere across platforms, engines, and experiences. And we knew if we wanted to get adoption, it would have to scale quickly and be both secure and reliable. So the choices we've made with our tech mean we're using common standards and common tools across the KWS platform. And this in turn makes it easier for us to keep the platform secure and reliable and always up to date with industry best practices. Now at KWS, every API we write, every feature we build, security is front and center everything we do. And I wanted to speak to a few of the measures that KWS takes to keep partners and their users safe. Now, one way any dev team can keep themselves secure is by storing as little data as possible. And this is called data minimization. Attackers cannot steal data that you do not have. The only pieces of data we store are the parent's email address, which is in a hashed format, and their verified status. We store these just once in our age graph, as Amy spoke to earlier. And as I said, the email is hashed, which means it cannot be reversed or decoded. And the only time we use this data is when a parent subsequently comes back to us, maybe through another partner's account system, for example, where we will try to automatically verify them using the email address they've given us. We'll hash it and check if it's already in the age graph. Now, layered amongst our security processes, another way we keep ourselves secure is regular pen testing, both internally and externally on our surface areas. And this includes being part of Epic's HackerOne bug bounty program. Now, if you've not heard of HackerOne, they are a cybersecurity company that conducts vulnerability threat assessments. And they enlist the help of the cybersecurity community to do that. And they offer monetary awards to ethical hackers for discovering and reporting vulnerabilities. So we know that we have real hackers trying to get into our stuff all the time. And that feedback loop is critical to helping us keep our security tight. Now, like any software developer, we want our services to always be available and to have great response times. Wherever in the world people or parents are using KWS parent verification, they want to go through the flow as quickly and as effortlessly as possible. Now, as a parent, I can happily say I do not want to spend my time filling out forms on behalf of my child. It's a necessary evil, and I want it to be as painless and as quick as possible. And to help us make this happen, we host out of AWS. This gives us the ability to provision services anywhere in the world at a really low latency. And we also want to be sure we can handle heavy traffic loads when our partners need it. Now, often these spikes come in the middle of the night, the weekend, at a moment's notice, probably when I'm on call. So their ability to offer as much resource as we need, whenever we need it, is really key in helping us achieve our uptime goals. And to be sure that our software can also handle heavy load, we regularly load test our platform so we can be sure that we can handle any traffic that is sent to us. We'll take our previous biggest traffic peak and we'll load test to double that. So we can ensure all the services do exactly as they're supposed to when we're running hot. Now, with our load testing, we don't just test maximum throughput, we'll also test speed of scale as well. And we know that from our tests, we can go from 0 to 10,000 verifications a minute within a 5-minute window. So when our partners are telling us they've got a big launch coming up, we go, yes, excellent. And it's just about being able to give our partners the confidence that we're not going to let them down when they need us the most. And so just lastly from me, if you're interested in talking tech, I recently did a presentation at the Games Developer Conference in San Francisco, specifically about how we scale parent verification. If you're interested in any more of that on the tech side of things or on the verification platform, please do head over to the KWS booth, which is just outside on the expo floor, where we'd be happy to chat. But for now, I'd like to pass you back to Amy.
To recap, we started with a shared challenge. The internet wasn't built with children and teens in mind. We showed how Epic tackled that by adopting and opening up KWS, how the age graph reduces friction for parents and developers, and how verification works in practice, how the service is built for security, scalability, and reliability. But the most practical takeaway is this. This service isn't just for Epic. This service is for everyone, for all developers, and it's free. Designed to make it easier for you to protect young players in your experiences without sacrificing time, cost, or scale. When we're talking to developers discussing how they might integrate with KWS's parent verification service, we hear a few questions repeatedly when they're thinking about deploying parent verification as part of their user onboarding flow. Let me answer a few of the questions that are most relevant to keeping younger players safe. How configurable is the service? You saw in Kevin's demo how developers can configure which verification methods are offered to parents. What's important to know is that KWS will always apply a base level of jurisdiction-specific logic. For example, face scan is not an available verification method in the US because of COPPA. On top of that, you as a developer have flexibility. You can choose which methods to enable or disable for each of your products. And you can also apply custom exclusions based on country or region for your own organization's needs. And we're continuously looking to expand these options. We're constantly vetting new verification methods, some that work globally and others that are more local to specific jurisdictions. For example, earlier this year, we launched 2 new local methods in South Korea, IPIN and cell phone verification. And as we add more methods, developers gain additional configurability options to choose what makes sense for their players and their markets. Which markets is the PV service available in? The answer is all of them globally. Our flows are currently supported in 19 different languages, with end user support in over 15, because helping parents through the process in their own language is critical to our mission of making safe experiences accessible around the world. And importantly, when you integrate with KWS, you also get managed end user support as part of the offering. That means if a parent gets stuck or needs help navigating the process, KWS handles it. So you don't have to spin up your own support function to manage verification questions worldwide. This is always one of the questions that we first get. How will introducing a VPC flow impact drop-off in my experience? At KWS, we track completion rates carefully. How many parents who start the verification process successfully complete it? And how many underage minors attempting verification do we successfully block? We're continuously improving the verification flow, from UI updates to onboarding new methods, to strengthen completion rates in markets globally. And over time, we've seen those rates improve significantly, largely thanks to the power of the age graph. This year, some partners have seen between 50 and 70% of all parents skip the verification flow entirely because they're already pre-verified in the age graph. And for those parents, the process takes about 5 seconds. KWS checks their status, confirms they're verified, and that's it. For parents verifying for the first time, average completion time depends on the method that they select, but ranges generally between 30 and 90 seconds. That's a huge win for reducing friction for parents while still keeping kids safely in the experience. As an industry, we all share the responsibility of making online play safe and age-appropriate. By working together and adopting standards like parent verification, we can make sure that the next generation of online experiences are inclusive for kids and teens included. If you'd like to know more, come find us at the KWS booth right in the expo, and we'd be more than happy to answer any questions throughout the fest. Thank you for your time today.